All right. All right, let's see. Let's get this up. Take up display capture. Yep, this is the final day. The final day. And once I'm done with this, we are going to move on to everything else that's necessary. All right. Bring this up. And let me also pop out chat too, so it's easy for me. And on top of that, where's this OBS? Let's add oh, I almost sat down. Let's first of all not do that. Let's not do that. All right, and let's also flip this over. Oh, and it's in proper orientation too. So now we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere good. So, welcome to the final day. I know I'm late. I need to get things really expedited. Yeah, I think this would on the 15th. That was the most amount of S pluses I handed out. The most amount of S pluses I handed out. That says a lot. Like you can kind of tell where there was like some really weak picks and some really strong ones. Some I actually had to kind of wrestle with a little bit. But yeah. And on top of that, on the 15th, I was also a little bit on the quiet side because I didn't want to attract too much attention. But I digress. I should just keep things going as the way they should. And without further ado, let's not delay. We got the Valkyrie. Valkyrie. All right, and let's switch up. Window capture. Be my guide. All right. Warriors of heaven that serve the gods, and mid-ranked angels that are both valorous and noble spirit. It's where loyalty to the gods who are their masters and obeying the voice of the gods that echo directly into the mind. And come into humans destined to become heroes and champions. It's their duty to urge these individuals to awaken as heroes and build up their power. Those that have been encountered by them go on to become great heroes who are widely known to the world, and it's purported that after death their souls are led to the gods, are led before the gods. They're not monsters to begin with, but individuals corrupted by dark energy are treated as monsters. Even in that case, they don't completely become monsters right away because of the divine protection they innately possess. Many individuals don't realize that they're in the process of being demonically corrupted, remaining loyal to the gods and noble spirits. Unwavering, they will seek to fulfill the duties given to them by the gods. However, once their power is bound with demonic energy, as if they raise a man as a hero, it not only builds up his abilities, but also heightens his sexual desire. Just as it is said, great men have great fondness for sensual pleasures, and men become imposing heroes. So too does their desire swell and overflow, eventually being directed at the Valkyrie. Being virtuous battle maidens, they are originally extremely abstemious with regards to sex and pleasure. But then the strangest thing happens. The voice of the gods echoes in their mind, commanding them to receive it. Receive it. Which once strictly gave them divine commandments and started giving them orders like do the acts to give them out pleasure, and sometimes act sweetly like a lover. Even though they are conflicted and bewildered by this, they are unable to disobey the God's voice. Led by the voice, believing his divine commandment, and it's for the sake of making him into a great hero, they will end up having sex with a man and receiving pleasure and desire with their own body. Also, along with the Valkyrie, heroes raised by corrupted power become more honest about their own desires. Regardless of their position as servants of God, loyal to the God and the church, and the presumption that God is justice and monsters are evil, they start to act according to their own personal sense of justice and noble spirits. They end up becoming heroes that aid the weak, whether human or monster, and crush evil. While spending time having sex with a man in this manner, their true nature as a battle maiden affects the man's heroic form. The monster's instinct causes them to become attracted at the sight of the man who seeks them as women and directs his desire towards them. Eventually, Eventually, they no longer think about anything of the God's voice commanding them to do monster-like deeds, and the fact that they are having sex with a man. Along with this, the frequency with which they can hear the God's voice also declines, when in turn they start to voluntarily have sex with a man and enjoy the pleasure. In essence, by the time due to the divine commandments is replaced by for his sake as a Valkyrie, they have already completely become a monster. Furthermore, actually, their communication with the gods was cut off the moment they became demonically corrupted. What they thought was the voice of the gods was actually the voice of their own desire all along. The moment they completely turn into a monster, they become unable to hear this voice. But if they realize it before then, they fall as a black battle maiden known as a Dark Valkyrie. So it's really a fall from grace. But, and the base form, they are just pure maidens. Very, very pure maidens that just seek your accord. Oh, okay. This monster is based on beings from Northern mythology, or divine warriors who carry deceased warriors to Valhalla when they train men to prepare them for Ragnarok. Some Valkyries do join up with female heroes. If such Valkyrie becomes a monster, she will raise the hero into a splendid Mamino realm hero, Inma, an equally splendid wife. I did also kind of regard the unicorn as a very a very what's the word I'm looking for? Unicorns are the pinnacle of purity. They are the absolute pinnacle of purity. Monogamous, always in a relationship, always prioritizing the health of a relationship, and the magic prima scales on how pure that relationship is too. No room for infidelity or anything of the sort. Nothing. The only thing is that they only prefer virgins, which is somewhat understandable, but also makes it kind of just limits the pool. And there's a very large pool now that we're thinking about it. But yeah, they do have some flexibility too. Though, like you said, this is pretty much on record that they're friendly with the ladies, which honestly also makes sense too, considering the fact that Valkyries always pride upon camaraderie amongst the ranks. And if anything, they could just conscript more Valkyries if one is pure of heart. So I would say this is a personal S plus. I like the design, and kind of going off of the Dark Valkyrie, it's still roughly the same thing. It's just recolored and retooled the personality. Sounds like the double wings and the weapons that they have. And I'm just a sucker for, like, some people really do kind of go a bit crazy with the bikini armor and whatnot, but sometimes proper armor like this really does help sell a character better than that. Because it's just always the idea of once that armor is off, it's a true beauty show. Yeah, I want to imagine them to have like a very haughty atmosphere too. Like, I wouldn't say they're above anything else, but it shows that they have very, very I'm just seeming to forget my words here and there too. Sheesh. But the point is that you're gonna be expecting a lot of forthright and the amount of the lack of sleep I've been getting is really getting to me. All right, let's go to the vampire. Oops. All right, a higher rank race of monsters boasting a high magical power and a surprising amount of superhuman strength, which inhabit places such as Mammono realms. They reveal themselves only at night and use the cover of darkness to attack their prey. They're extremely prideful, considering themselves to be nobility while looking strongly down upon humans as lesser beings. Like other succubus family monsters, they feed on essence of human men, but they don't attain it through sex like the succubus would. Instead, biting a man's neck with their fangs and obtaining it in that manner. Perhaps because when they suck blood, they infuse the man with a slight amount of demonic energy, the men don't feel pain from the act of them feeding. Instead, both the one doing the sucking and the one being sucked can obtain pleasure enough to melt each other's brains. So, for the vampire themselves, not only is the man's blood a sweet treat, at the same time it also makes him unbearably aroused, just like an aphrodisiac, due to the pleasure of the act of sucking blood and the blood itself. Most of them feel a large amount of lust towards their prey directly after feeding. But as far as they are concerned, copulation with a human being is a filthy act, so most vampires are likely to try to control their lust. Those they are fond of are taken away to their homes and kept as servants and food sources, being forced to take care of the vampire herself, although they look down on humans due to the influence of the demon lord's demonic energy. When they're looked after by the man they brought home, or whoever they brought home in general, a powerful feeling of love wells up. And when they look at that man, and when they look at one's body, their body will throb badly. Since they are monsters, they won't be able to resist the urge, and eventually they'll come to desire the man both physically and emotionally. One who lives their life as a servant is infused with demonic energy every time a vampire feeds, eventually being transformed into an incubus. Men who have become incubi will then be treated by vampires as nobles, the same as them. And that's nepotism right there. So I just gotta stay in your house for long enough, and then after feeding on me for so much, then I can become a noble? Yeah, I can dig it. And how did the hierarchy of vampires go again? There's elder lords, lords, nobles, or something. It's been a while since I've ever kind of looked back in that kind of category. The only ones that I remember specifically were either from Sirius Jaeger or Seraph of the End. And maybe a bit of Blade too. Due to this, since those cease to being humans they look down upon, depending on the individual, they may totally change their attitude. There are even those who start to treat their partners almost like lovers, as if this feeling for the individual they have been suppressing until then had been forced to the surface. It said that they also become unable to suppress their lust during blood sucking, and then will have sex with the man according to their desire. When the Mamano Lord took over, their nature changed into that kind of a succubus, so they can obtain essence through sex. Once they start having sex with someone, the more they have been repressed, the more they will be enthralled by the strong push that satisfies the devilish nature, and the sweet taste of seed, which will be on par with that even the sweetness of blood. Additionally, they will also rarely attack human females. This isn't for the sake of feeding, but for the sake of changing a woman determined to have noble nature into the one of their own kind. Women who have had their blood sucked are infused with a vast amount of demonic energy, and are transformed into vampires themselves. They possess extremely high fighting abilities, but they also have a ton of weaknesses. Under the sun's rays, their physical abilities are weakened to the degree of an ordinary human girl. And just from touching fresh water, a powerful numbing pleasure will course through their body. Additionally, they are weak to garlic, and just smelling it will diminish their reasoning abilities and render them unable to think straight. Were one to put it into their mouth, the rationality would completely disappear, and they'd end up going wild and seeking pleasure just like the original variety of succubus. Hey. I mean, it's a kind of a step below the Dampier, but how'd I rank the Dampier anyway? Like, you just got to be content with living in very dark places until nighttime. I think you just have like a very nice long walks around the night boardwalk or wherever they reside. Spend a bit of time in the castle. You better hope they have some fun stuff to do in that castle, because you're going to be very bored if you're constantly getting fed on. I say S. I'd say S. Say yes with the S. All right, let's move on. Yeah, just bring your consoles or whatever. Well, I don't know if they. Well, never mind. It's the actual sunlight. If it's just artificial light, then they should be fine. But the Dampier always has like a better advantage because you can take them anywhere. They are immune. I wouldn't say immune to the sun, but they have the qualities of a human that allow them to do much more things than a vampire would. And even then, their vampire side is kind of repressed. to a certain degree. All right, the werebat. Beastmen with bat-like features that live in caves and other dark places. They hang upside down from the ceiling in places with limited visibility and patiently wait for travelers to pass by. When one spots a human who strikes their fancy, a werebat will dive out from the darkness, knock them down, and forcibly mount them. Sadistic by nature, a werebat will respond to resistance or pleading by escalating the violence while grinning lascivious and maliciously. When multiple individuals are occupying the same space, the loud moaning and grasping will highly arouse the others, causing them to swarm the man. As if in a mad scramble for a single treat, they swoop down from the ceiling in a rush to taste one's body, licking, rubbing, and teasing. Once one ejaculates inside them, in the next moment a new one will mount them and begin rocking their hips. Since the frenzy orgy takes place in total darkness, the man will not be able to confirm how many of them there are, nor will he be able to tell which werebat is violating him. It is likely to him that as though the pleasure is continuing forever. In this way, werebats are highly ferocious, but they are vulnerable to light. If brought into a brightly lit area, they turn cowardly and are effectively helpless. However, even if brought to a brightly lit area, they do not free the human at all. Instead, a werebat would be afraid of everything other than the person that they're mounting. Seeking one's aid, a werebat will cling to his body and try to hide in a shadow. At this time, a werebat will appear to be a nervous wreck. Unlike when they violate those in the darkness, they do not give off a lewd or sadistic impression. On the contrary, a man may be tempted to do something sadistic to them instead. As if to urge it on, a werebat will nestle close and push every part of their trembling body against the man. Their instinct will tell them to seek sex, even in these circumstances. If a werebat has sex with a man at such a time, then not only she'll no longer be afraid, she'll even be able to feel as relaxed as she would be in the dark, due to the pleasure and warmth provided. This is B. Why'd I keep doing that? No. Yeah, this is a safe B. A B for bat. That's very apt. And I wouldn't be very concerned in the slightest. We're a cat. Also can't show that. They have a flexible and strong body and are talented when it comes to springing on an unsuspecting victim. Aside from living in forests, some individuals also live around human villages, awaiting the opportunity to attack human men. They have extremely capricious personalities. Oftentimes you think they're taking a friendly attitude, and suddenly they assume a sulky attitude. However, these are creatures whose bodies speak louder than their mouth. If their tail is straight up and their eyes downcast, avoiding contact with yours during conversation, it means where a cat wishes to be loved, even though her mouth says otherwise. So they're soon today. Fun. Even when in this sulky sort of mood, they'll soon brighten up if one has sex with them. Despite being capricious, having sex with the man they like is the one thing they still love to do no matter what the time. They're usually not very dangerous monsters, but when they go in heat, which happens periodically, they become extremely ferocious. And when they spot a human, they'll attack and violate. They often become attached to the person they had sex with, and even after the heat is over, they frequently seek that man. In the case that they've become attached, the longer they interact with the man, the longer they have sex, the longer the heat will last. Even after it's over, their period before their next heat will steadily grow shorter. For that reason, if one spoils them too much and has sex with them whenever tempted, they'll live in a state and constantly being in heat. And this is where things will get out of hand. Should they catch a whiff of the fruit of a plant called matatabi, they'll fall into a state of intoxication. Their senses will be diminished for a while, and they'll enter a state that's even more ferocious than when they're in heat. Even though they are usually capricious during this period, their head will become full of only thoughts of fawning on a man and having sex, and in a state of maximum arousal, they'll rub their hot body against a man seeking intercourse. Well, I guess this is like giving them catnip. The catnip just makes them extremely dangerously horny. So if you want that kind of pleasure on yourself, you might as well just give him that. If not, and you just don't want to get clinged on and just clawed upon, you might reconsider. So it's all about pacing at that point. It's all about the pacing. And whether or not you would have that ability to do that pacing is certainly up to you. I'd say this is A. You do have a bit of a playful mood and are certainly the ones that would give you the most bang for your buck. But here we go. The were-rabbit, whoops, half human, half beast monsters sharing the characteristics of the rabbit, that majority of which inhabits meadows. They are docile compared to other were-beasts, and they are friendly towards humans. They tend to be cheerful and extremely curious. Perhaps for that reason, they are restless and spend much of their time running and jumping to and fro. Although noted that they are relatively docile and friendly to humans, that doesn't mean they aren't dangerous. Unlike most were-beasts, they have no fixed fertile time. Rather, their mating season is year-long. Take what you will. Take that what you will. A were-rabbit will greet any man she encounters. If the traveler returns the greeting in a friendly manner, she may take a liking to him, at which the impatient were-rabbit will push him down and take him on the spot. Contrary to their personality and appearance, sex with them is extremely furious. Even when on top of a man, they shake their hips like a rabbit hopping around and indulge in the pleasure. If one to attempt to escape from a were-rabbit in heat, which is year-round, it would be difficult since they swiftly hop around the plains with their powerful legs. Although the veracity of this is uncertain, it is said that they hate being alone so much that they can even die from loneliness. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. That's unfortunate. They desire to always be close to the one they've taken a liking to, and they'll move their body intimately close and fawn on them, seeking sex, which allows them to be as close to them as possible. For them, this is the happiest time. Well, the happiest time is definitely when they're joined with someone, becoming one. This is purely a rumor, but if you follow were-rabbit without being noticed when she is hopping around aimlessly, it's said that sometimes you'll arrive at a place called Wonderland along with her. That place is said to be a bizarre dimension where monsters are constantly in heat like were-rabbits. They want to have sex with men like crazy. However, as of the present, no one has ever returned from that place, so it's uncertain whether it really exists. As also, should someone try to follow were-rabbit, in most cases he would be noticed since the big ears have excellent hearing, and she would head straight towards him and attack. Sounds to me that was propaganda in order to get the were-rabbits kind of bred. So whoever that poor son of a bitch was. Yeah. So what am I doing? Oh dear God. If I could find a site in particular, I could definitely do that. If I could find the site that one was using. I was thinking of doing Digimon since everybody was doing Pokemon instead. So I just want to be a bit of the contrarian and just also get some groundwork laid around. It's just trying to find like a whole entire catalog of Digimon to do a Smash or Pass or a ranking stream with. That's going to be the other thing. So I might be a little bit busy with that area for like next month. Wonderland has a Jabberwocky? It does have the Jabberwocky. It does have the Trump arts too. I think the one I would probably avoid might be the March Hare or the Jub Jub. I forgot which one. But were-rabbits, bunny girls, take what you will. They're cute, and they're most likely in heat all year round. So if you are really valuing anything, or if you have like a high enough sex drive, you might as well just consider yourself having a partner with were rabbits. Just be mindful that your pelvis might be feeling very numb because they move at a machine gun pace. And I'm not talking about M60 saw. No, M249 saw. No. I'm talking about Gatling gun pace. You will not be the same person after a night with a were rabbit. All right, next up is the were sheep. Oh. All right, let's put this one up on the stream. It's Anilla from Grand Blue Fantasy. There's Watame. Worship had definitely been making a come ups one way or another. A type of beast man covered in a fluffy coat having the characteristics of a sheep. Just as it seems from the fluffy appearance, they're always drowsy and lightheaded. They spend most of the time spaced out on the plains where beautiful grass grows, basking in the sun or napping. When they find a human, they make a gentle smile as though happy from the bottom of their hearts and slowly head toward the man and gently embrace him, affectionately rubbing their fluffy body all over the man. If it were some other monster, this is when that man would get finally knocked down, embraced, and violated. And the monster would deliciously receive his mana. But the way they happily embrace the man doesn't give off that feeling at all. However, this is actually their method of attacking men to get sex. The wool that her body is covered contains sleep magic. After being embraced and having the coat rubbed all over him, the man will become overcome with the same kind of lightheaded drowsiness as them. And when his thinking starts to get hazy, he will slowly remove his clothing. On seeing a man's exposed penis, they will grin happily, raise their own lower body above it, and slowly lower their hips, guiding them inside. And then, while embracing the man and joining with them, they'll keep slowly shaking their hips. While the man is so sleepy he can't resist, he'll be filled with a comfortable pleasure, and just as he releases man inside them, he'll fall asleep while enveloped in their fluffiness. They also fall asleep in the same way while joining the man upon experiencing the pleasant sensation of the man feeling their body. Eventually, when the man awakens due to this physiological phenomenon and the warm, pleasant sensation of being enveloped by them, his penis, which is still inside them, will then once again become stiffly erect. The feeling of it drilling their insides will cause him to wake up too, and after smiling at the man with their sleepy-looking face, they begin shaking their hips. While still drowsy, have barely woken up, the man will release the man inside them once more due to the gentle pleasure he's being given. Their fur, which is imbued with sleep magic, is treasured as a material for bedding and pajamas. Oh man, I would want that. I would definitely want that. Like, I already have trouble sleeping. If I just take that wool, just a little bit of it, and just rub it upon myself, I could just easily knock out and just be well rested for the next part of the day. Though, let me read further. The deep sleep induced by a fluffy, comfortable bedding is very pleasant, and even with a short period of sleep, one can restore themselves from fatigue and wake up feeling refreshed. For that, this fur fetches high prices. Also, if cut, it'll grow back after a while, so many people raise them. However, the reason they're normally so docile and sleepy is the fur. Without this fur, they're released from the sleep magic, and they'll fully exhibit their original lustful and greedy nature. So it's a limiter. The whole entire wool on their body is a limiter. Their soft smile will change into a smile more accentuated by desire. To express all that bestial lust that had been once suppressed by drugs until then, they'll push a man down and have sex with him. Unable to satisfy their greedy lusts with just having sex once or twice, they'll crash their hips into a man violently like a wild beast in heat, to taste an even greater quantity of stronger pleasure and mana. During this time, their expression will be different than usual. The ecstasy of tasting pleasure and mana will cause them to make a lewd, completely slackened smile. So it's just a very wide disclaimer. If you cut off their fur, they will beat the brakes off of you. They will certainly beat the brakes off of you if you're not careful. And if you are also the one cutting the fur, you better have something that's going to protect you from sleep magic as well, because if you accidentally, I think it's either rub it on yourself or inhale it. No, I think it's, no. It's if you put it on yourself, then you become drowsy. I can see it. 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 Oh shit. Let's switch back. And the Weresheep gets an S+. I can get a good night's sleep and a good bang. Hey. It's good. Real good. Alright, next up is the werewolf. Of course, this gal sounds good for me. Alright. The werewolf. The type of beastmen having characteristics of wolves that live in packs, their intelligence is high, but they are ferocious, and they use their strong legs and exceptional stamina to prowl forests. The worm. Okay. I guess something to look forward to then. Prowl forests, mountainous regions, and etc. in search of prey. When they locate someone who suits their taste, they attack and violate, allowing themselves to be consumed by overwhelming bestial lust. They have the characteristics of wolves, and they're truly ferocious like beasts during mating. When mad and lust drives them to ravaging men, they rock their hips against them simple-mindedly. Of course, they possess far more stamina than humans, and they won't be satisfied with just having sex once or twice. One would end up having to release inside them countless number of times. So it'll be more than 4 times. Nakadashi 4 times. Additionally, since wild werewolves live in packs, if they take liking to someone, he'll be integrated into the pack, and then he'll end up having to service multiple partners. He'd end up getting banged out over and over by many werewolves every night. So he is their personal fuck toy, from the sound of it. Many beastmen even become more ferocious when they go into heat. Sometimes the desire for a human is so intense that they'll even come to human villages. While they're in heat, their body is always throbbing, yearning for more human seed. They'll give into the throbbing and keep mating all day and night. Throbbing doesn't go away until the heat ends or they become pregnant. In this way, they're really ferocious, but sometimes recognize men as superior if defeated or if they fall totally in love. And then they'll end up being extremely loyal to their male partner, or their partner in general, as a superior. In other words, their master, he'll become just like dog fawning over one even during sex. Such werewolves beg for seed. Man, I didn't know they like Kiriyamato too. So they can bear one's children. Also, one who has dominated many werewolves and as their boss of the pack, the alpha. The alpha. All the werewolves seek sex and want to have their bodies to children. So every night, he would have to be with them when they snuggle up. Wait. So every night, he would have to be with them when they snuggle up to him seeking sex. Also, they sometimes attack and bite human women. Women bitten by them are influenced by the demonic energy through the opening in the wound, and they end up turning into a werewolf just like them. Women who change from human to werewolf tend to be much more docile than those who were werewolves from the beginning. Since they recognize their own family and lover as pack members and master, it's possible for them to keep living like that. However, if there are other women in their family, they'll try to bite them and change them into werewolves, just like those who were originally a werewolf. They have an intense sexual desire for the men who become their masters and will go into heat and seek his seed. It's their destiny. So it can be problematic. Because they're originally humans, they are less able to control their bestial lust, and the man who becomes their master will end up having to mate with them, and they have several times as much lust as they did as when they were humans. This is an A to a certain degree. To a certain degree, but I wouldn't say it's the end all be all there. All right, we have the white horn. Let's put that on the stream since that's relatively safe. A race of centaurs that inhabit the cold region, distinguished by having large horns with tips that are stained white like snow. They have a great amount of body hair compared to the other centaur family monsters and excel at walking in snow, despite having a large human half-human, half-horse body. Let me bring the chat up too. To protect themselves from the cold, they increase their body temperature by making their body flush. For that reason, their body and expression are always faintly flushing, giving off a slightly feverish allure. Perhaps because they have quiet disposition and are relatively rational compared to the other monsters, even though they're always making the body flush, to them it's like a normal state. And they wouldn't attack a human just because of that. They're kind and friendly towards humans, and when they spot a person about to pass through a snow-covered road or mountain, they let him ride on their back and carry him because the trip is dangerous. In monster-friendly states where relations between humans and monsters are progressing, they may even be stationed at locations where danger is predicted, and they'll safely transport through the snow-covered roads. Contrary to the low temperature, most races of monsters in snow country dress in a highly revealing manner, but white horns are a rare exception, and mostly clad themselves in thick, cold-proof clothes. Despite this, it seems they would be even fine even almost in a half-naked state, but because their body will naturally flush more intensely in response to the cold, they wear thick clothes out of concern to prevent this so they won't assault men. Nevertheless, in situations such as when suddenly hit by a blizzard, it's necessary to produce more heat than normal to protect not only their own life, but the life of the person they're carrying on their back. So they may make their body flush so hotly that they become sexually excited. Additionally, when riding on their back, they will recommend to cling to the body as closely as possible. But with hot breath, they make that remark to a man, you may get the wrong idea. Teasing and thoroughly rubbing their body more than necessary, which might make their body flush hot and turn them on regardless of how cold it is. He wouldn't arouse, he wouldn't attack a man in the middle of a snow-covered road. However, as soon as they get off the road, they'll take him to their station, which serves as an inn. He'll end up having to deal with their hotly flushing body. When sexually aroused, everything heats up, including their body, breath, gaze, and even the language they use towards men. Oh. Whoa. And when delirious with this fever, they are extremely passionate. Sex then begins with an embrace so gentle and warm. You just can't stop hurting me, can you? That it is as if it alone could restore a man whose body was frozen on a snow-covered road, and a kiss so deep that it seems to melt each other's lips. A man will experience the sensation of his body being warmed from the inside as their tongues intertwine and the hot saliva mixes with his. The heat of the vagina blows that of their mouth of the water. What? The heat of their vagina blows that of their mouth out of the water. Huh? Does that make sense? All penetration will make a man feel like he's going to melt from the pleasure and the heat. The feeling of being enveloped and warmed up by the white horns and sides produce an even greater. Oh, yeah. Yep. Thank you. Which is even greater pleasure than physical stimulation of sex. In this way, after spending a euphoric hot night that's seemingly enough to make them forget about the cold, most men won't be able to forget about that night and will choose to become a whitehorn's husband and live with her. And let me see what the notes are. I say this is a bona fide winner. This is a bona fide winner. We got ourselves another S+. Another. All right, we have the white, who is looking absolutely stunning. If I do say so myself. The nightgown does wonders. Undead are raised from the corpses of a few superior individuals such as royalty and heroes. They are high-rank undead that control numerous other undead, and those powerful whites that rule over an especially great number of undead sometimes create demon realms of everlasting night known as the Undead Kingdoms, and reign as monarchs of the undead. They have decadent, alluring beauty and high intelligence. They behave with elegance and dignity, as they believe they should. However, their bodies are full of lust, and they look at humans with a raw passion in their eyes. They don't randomly attack men that they like, but most who are tempted by them will have their hearts stolen by their devilish nature. They will desire to win their favor and try to become theirs on their own. Most of them rarely show themselves in human domains, secluding themselves in the world of everlasting night, leading an elegant and lewd life of pleasure with their male partner. They excel not only at handling a man's body and soul, but his essence as well. They can even freely manipulate the absorption of essence and pleasure that accompanies it. During sex, they deliberately sip essence bit by bit through everything that they use, from the gentle touch of each and every one of their fingers, to close contact with their soft skin. As it takes place, the pleasure experienced by the man isn't just physical, even his soul will melt sweetly. They'll captivate a man's heart, and they won't let go. Furthermore, they can steal almost all of a person's essence just by touching them. If there's a hostile individual, they can make them faint and collapse as if kneeling before them by barely touching them with a fingertip, due to the exhaustion and overwhelming pleasure of having all of one's essence taken out. If it's a human woman, then the essence will be stolen from her body and will be replaced with the white's irrepressible demonic energy. And she'll turn into a wildly lustful undead, a loyal servant of the white. Zombies, the quintessential undead, regain more of their looks when they are among their living. The more essence they gain. Let me read that again. Zombies, the quintessential undead, regain more of their looks from when they were among the living, the more essence they gain. Eventually, they can even surpass their former beauty. Whites, which were beautiful to begin with, are even more remarkable as they have repeated intercourse with their partner, their body and soul become stained with the essence of their beloved as they indulge in pleasure. The allure of their body increases even more. In the Undead Kingdoms, there is a high society where notable undead from around the world periodically gather accompanied by their husbands, the whites being first among them. Sometimes evening parties are held by these undead. At these gatherings, the whites ostentatiously display their own beauty to those around them. Also show off how deeply they love their partner, how their days are spent having sex with an indulgent individual they are. Additionally, it is said that zombies may transform into whites by having frequent sex with their husband, sipping essence, and storing up vast amounts of demonic energy. These newly born whites receive invitations to the undead kingdoms from out of nowhere, and they're invited to join high society with a very hospitable welcome. Oh, yeah. Yep. Their beauty matched with their equality. Certainly worth it. Just by the touch, too. Just by the touch. They could just knock you out. Alright, Will-o'-the-Wisp. I can see where the design for Chandelure came from, though. Like, don't believe me? Look. This Will-o'-the-Wisp. And this Chandelure. I think we now know where we have approached the design. All right. Listen, but yeah, that's pretty much it. It's almost like both of them based off of ghost lamps, and ghost lamps can be very scary. Don't go near floating lamps in general. The Wisp is an undead monster, the result of a fusion of demonic energy with the soul of a person that has died alone. Oh. Their bodies are comprised of raging flames of jealousy, and when they wear something like a cage around their body to hold the flames in, they are persistent, ferocious monsters. Because of their loneliness and feelings of dissatisfaction, they are extremely jealous of the living, especially lovers or married couples that seem to be happy. When they see a man and woman in love, their flames increase in intensity and their ferocity increases even more. Due to this envy and jealousy of the living, there's always a darkly obscene passion swelling their hearts. When they spot a man, they'll gleefully smile. They'll smile gleefully as they assault and violate him. Because of their origins, they have a sick obsession with men. When they capture men, hold up, I thought I heard something. When they capture a man, they will shut him inside their own cage. Sex will be intense and relentless. They'll adhere closely to a man's body and continue to fondling him all day without growing ever tired of it. When they kiss, they will continue sucking with their mouth and entwining their tongue as if to suck up every last drop of saliva. Once they have joined with a man, they hate the thought of his penis leaving their vagina, so they transform the cage to bind him to ensure that he cannot escape. Once it happens, they will move their hips as if to cling to his penis and will continue to have his essence being squeezed and sucked out of him, all while he experiences pleasure of such a degree that he will be under delusion that his very soul is being poured out. In this way, the man will always exist inside of them. When the body is filled with this warm essence, they will realize that they are not alone. Their once empty heart becomes filled with warmth and ecstasy. It is said that the men who have had their body and soul seized by them and then become their husband, they will not be released even after death. When only their soul remains. Oh boy. They'll end up having sex with him as a husband for eternity. Also, sometimes living men are not their targets. Instead, they trap in their cages the soul of men who died alone just like them and make them husbands of them. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. You say that when the living wander into their residence, they will show off while they make love. Furthermore, even after obtaining a husband, their deeply jealous personalities do not change. Every time they encounter a pair of lovers or a married couple other than themselves, they get jealous and express feelings of rivalry. If a couple is intimately making love, they'll get jealous over it. They'll get jealous of it and fawn on their husband, as if they would as if to indicate that they would like to do the same thing. If there is a wife who devotedly serves their husband and smiles happily as she's able to make their husband happy with their own hands, then they'll be extremely jealous and envious. And they will devotedly serve their own husband to the point that it becomes obsessive. In this manner, the flames of jealousy and rage. And the flames of jealousy rage without limit, and they won't be able to settle down unless they're the most indecent and most loving couple. Ah. And I'm pretty sure they're the kind of creature that would notably and willingly commit NTR. But this is just more jealousy than rather animosity. That might not be the case. However, I'm actually glad that they only go after the lone souls rather than actual living beings. Because if it's... I don't want to be stuck in there. Nah. I don't want to be stuck in there. Not one bit. All right, let me switch back. Yeah, they go both after the living and dead, but they kind of prioritize the dead a little bit more. But if on the off chance that you're the one that's captured, then that's GG for you. That's really GG. Nope. Is a no-go. And headbat. Next up is the Wonder Worm. Oh, she got some shisha or hookah, whatever it is. And she's another Wonderworld denizen. So let me look at this Queen of Hearts. I don't really show her what she looks like. All right, and let me put it up on stream. The Wonder Worm. A race unique to Wonderland, having soft, squishy body of the caterpillar. The progenitor race was a lone green worm who wandered into the Wonderland and incurred the wrath of the Queen of Hearts by devouring all the sweets that were meant for the tea party she had been looking forward to start. It all started when her being struck by a spell meant to curb her appetite, which resulted in the loss of the ability to go through the pupal stage and change to a papillon. Thus, they become a race whose body grows while still in a caterpillar form. And so, just like the original race, it is no longer necessary to eat large amounts and become an imago, enabling them to become active for long periods of time, even with extremely scarce meals, such as a small amount of fruit juice, etc. Since the nutrients of mana, which originally would have been stored up for transformation into an imago, instead are used up to fuel the body's growth, regardless of them eating very little, they tend to grow much larger compared to the original race and easily end up with a voluptuous figure. Perhaps because having to maintain such a large body with little nutrients and mana, they aren't very active, and the words and actions seem more laid back than the original race, giving them a languid aura. One of the most especially distinctive traits is the fact that they have a penchant for tobacco made from wonderland plants, mushrooms, etc., and regularly smoke it to sate their hunger. The colorful, sweet-scented smoke that drifts around them causes those who breathe it in to become intoxicated and horny. At the same time, rationality and common sense have diminished, as if stuffed by the smoke. What more, due to having continuously inhaled the smoke, even the breath that escapes the lips has pretty much the same nature as smoke itself. When conversing, each time their mouth opens, breath spills out, and males start to feel a dizzying intoxication, as they listen to the seemingly mystifying words. The sight of them languidly sighing will be unbearably alluring, and just being blown on from up close will be enough to cause entrancement in the dreamlike mind state. With diminished reason, one is powerless to resist the sexual desire that is laid bare. Hold up. I'm just gonna close the door a little bit. Just a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay. I think that goes somewhat clear, or at least from a safe distance. Alright. Marvel's gonna be a little bit softer this time around. Yeah, let's get Vento. I'm just gonna be operating on safe mode at the moment, as I like to call it. So let's just tone it down a little bit more and just give ourselves a nice little opportunity to take it slow. Alright, now where was I? With diminished reason, one is powerless to resist the sexual desire that is laid bare. Yeah, it looks realistic. It does. Ain't that something? Yeah. I just feel like this is just gonna be for like a rare occasion every now and then. I don't do this as often, and I haven't done this in a while. And the most I've ever done this was through like a model kit building. Alright. Common sense that has been shaken and shattered from reform in a manner suitable for a denizen of Wonderland. Just like the monster before his eyes, so too will the man feel it improper for two people who want each other to say their sexual desires together. And then they'll end up lying together without being clear who initiated it. Since they're already adults, they have little appetite, but it's given it's an adult body specialized for reproduction. It's as if the green worm's endless appetite is replaced with an equivalently insatiable lust. Although they seldom attack human men themselves, once a man is mystified by their smoke, if invited for sex, he'll seize the husband with the long elastic body and his countless legs to keep him from escaping the pleasure and intoxication. Furthermore, it seems their mouths get lonely when not smoking tobacco, so they frequently seek kisses during sex, and the breath thereby blown into the husband causes endless lust. They also love to perform fellatio. They're hungry green worms that the way they suck it and release and refuse to let go, while lovingly blowing on it so that the yummy treat will remain permanently erect. So this is a very sultry worm. Very, very sultry. And I do have a bit of a thing for that too. Smooth, mature, sometimes domineering to a degree, but yeah. Very, very domineering. So let's switch scenes and just move things over, and we can go on to the next one. And we're going to move on to the worm. The one that I say hyped up, and we'll go from there. Oh. Okay, I can see why. The boulder puncher. The boulder puncher. Oh, man. Oh, so it's somewhat like the Ryu too. Alright, a type of dragon that has the body of an upper body of a woman, a long, snake-like lower body. Because of the powerful, magnificent way they advance by crawling on the ground, they're also called earth dragons. Even though they are a lesser race of dragon in terms of raw power, they are no better than or worse than dragons. The body is sturdy enough to crush boulders by ramming. They're covered in hard scales, and they have endless stamina. I think it's also kind of safe to show too. Oh, wrong one. There we go. However, their intelligence is extremely low. Their thoughts are simple, and basically they all think about is meeting with humans. Their personalities are ferocious, and since they aggressively assault humans when seeking a reproductive partner, they are feared as monsters even more dangerous than dragons. Worms are especially dangerous once they are in a state of arousal after detecting a human. If there is a boulder in front of them, they'll smash it and continue onward. If a man hides in the forest, they'll mow down all the trees and become a beeline straight to his position. They will legit raise an entire forest or an entire mountain just to get to you. That's amazing. Also kind of scary too, but amazing nonetheless. Once they have spotted their prey, every obstacle is meaningless to them, and they will never stop until they get their man. It's difficult to run, but even more difficult to fight and drive them away. So it's even said that the easiest way to stop a worm is to give her a man. Just give up. Just give up. Just find some random Joe Schmo on the street, throw him in the path, and just run. It's just take somebody and run, because you'll never be able to escape a worm. Actually, so long as they're able to catch a man, the inside of the head becomes covered with thoughts of nothing but sex and with the husband they just obtained. They'll either bind the man with a long body and begin sex right then and there, or bring him back to the lair and take their time. The body is covered in hard scales, but the scales can recede, exposing soft, sensitive skin so that the abdomen, and especially the front part of the upper body, are very sensitive to receive pleasure from the heat and touch of one's body. To them, their snake belly and bare skin are their weak points during mating. In fact, they very much enjoy the feeling of a man with these weak points. And like a Lamia family monster, they normally coil around the man and try to glue their bodies together as closely as possible. When they ravish a man, they are extremely ferocious, and their sex is also violent. But once they settle down with the husband, they think that their husband as a male for impregnating themselves, and they think of themselves as a female for bearing that male's offspring. For that reason, it's surprisingly easy to tame them as long as one can take the lead. Remember, ladies and gents, if you got someone who has a very ferocious temperament, take the lead. For that reason, it's very surprising. Exploit their weak points and exhibit as power as a male, as the dominant top. Though they possess overwhelming power over dragon family, because of their simple and meek personalities, they can become very affectionate and obedient. Additionally, like the original dragon, it is possible for them to change into the form of an enormous dragon before the Dark Lord sees power. However, since that is inconvenient for them having sex with men, and all they think about is sex, they do not assume that form even if given a choice or a chance. All right, now let's close that up. I'd say this is a B. They're just absolutely terrifying to deal with. Absolutely terrifying. They will punch through boulders if need be. Oh. Okay, now we're on to the wyvern. With both arms being huge wings, this dragon species is known as the wyvern. With the same powers as other dragons, this variety can also return to the form that it had before the current Lord's ascension. While its physical strength is inferior to the dragons, its huge wings give it exceptional abilities in the air, able to turn much tighter and outdistance its cousin when it comes to speed. Unlike the dragon, they are neither haughty nor prideful, never looking down on humans. However, they are heavily driven on by the monstrous instincts, have an abrasive personality, and are very willing to attack humans if they want to copulate. When their desire mate, they will take to the skies and circle a large area, and when they finally spot a man, they like to initiate an attack by diving out by swooping down onto the man. They will pin the man down with their strong legs and begin to ravish them. Afterwards, they will take the man back to their home, zealously copulate with him, and with their goal to bear this man's children. Knights, called dragoons, are also known to use dragons as their mounts instead of regular horses. Dragons, though, despite being the iconic representatives of the race, rarely do this, their pride making it a Herculean task to convince one to let you ride her. While dragons lend their name to the dragoons, the lack of typical draconic haughtiness in wyverns means that they're actually the more common mount among dragon knights. However, while a dragon mount is very tractable, a wyvern's abrasive nature, their inclination to start fights, and desire to straddle the knight once they are themselves straddled can make them difficult to manage. Even a married couple can find it difficult to manage their duties as a knight and mount. If a knight attempts to mount a wild wyvern, there will be a struggle about whom the superior is and who will be mounted. If you fail your attempt to gain dominance, she will instead mount you every day, squeezing you out as she rides you. So a safer method than this is to obtain a wyvern's egg and train her from a young age and to act as a dragon's mount. So really, train your dragon from the very beginning. If you try to go in the wild and just try to find someone that's already at a higher caliber, a higher age, good luck. You're going to be in for a rough time. And you're going to be very, very tired. In order for a knight and his wyvern to mount, to become one and improve cooperation, it is crucial that they spend a lot of time together. Develop a more loving and trusting relationship by having plenty of close physical contact. For such reasons, in some countries, they may produce many dragons, children who will be dragoons, in the future are brought up together with the wyvern children, who become their mounts. As childhood friends, fiancés, brother and sister, or master and servant, eventually love will blossom. They will become sweethearts and eventually marry. By nurturing this love for as long as possible, they can gain a strong understanding for one another, creating the strongest dragon knight pairings. All right, so with that, some of the worms that existed in a time before the Demon Lord were double-headed dragons. When they became mono, those worms split into two individuals. It's when the two individual women that are usually considered sisters. Okay, so when it comes to the wyvern, I would say this is a safe B as well. It just seemed to be a bit of a hassle to deal with. A very, very insane hassle to deal with, especially if they're abrasive by nature, and they'll probably call you all sorts of names when you try to make friends with them. And then just use it as a toy if they're really bored. Now for the cute one. The Yeti. I think I can kind of put this on stream to a certain degree. I'm kind of pushing it too. Kind of. It's a type of beastman that lives in the snowy mountain areas. They're clad in layers of fluffy white fur. Despite their naturally high body temperatures, it is impossible for them to not feel the frigid cold of their homes. Despite this, they are able to continue moving about even in the most furious of blizzards. A friendly, cheerful, and kind-hearted race. If they see a traveler in distress during a snowstorm, they'll approach his frozen body and hug him, using their high body temperature to warm him back up. Even in sub-zero temperatures, those held in gentle arms of these girls won't feel cold. Even if they were buck naked to the elements, during particularly fierce snowstorms, many of these monsters have also invited humans back to their homes and shelters. This kind act saving the lives of many travelers. No matter whom their companion is, these girls have a strong desire to hug those around them, and will get their cuddles one way or another. They being the sort of using their bodies to express their emotions from joy to arousal. Those around them will find these girls to be very affectionate and cuddly, When embracing a human male, their hugs are even more tender, hugging the man close to them, close to themselves, though not only to provide with warmth for them, these hugs form a courtship. Generally, they're fairly more, they are, wait. Generally, they are fairly proactive when pursuing a man since they're monsters, and depending on the reaction to being embraced and cuddled by their fluffy arms. If, while embracing a man, their hug is returned, these girls will become happy and declare their intentions to the man. If he doesn't struggle or try to leave, they will become more active with their courting behavior and hug the man even tighter against themselves. During this time, her body temperature rises due to their arousal. This heat, combined with their gentle embrace, causes many men to get erection, a sign these girls will take to mean it's time to have intercourse. While tenderly holding the aroused male, her thoughts will begin to turn having his child before she gleefully begins. While these girls are gentle and quite docile, you must remember that they are still monsters. They're always dreaming of finding a man who won't struggle and reject them. While these girls have an amazing physical strength, they can easily pin a man down, something anyone hugged by them would know. They would rather use their natural charm and body to fascinate. Natural charm and body heat to fascinate and seduce a human male before coupling with them. During these girls' lifetimes, they will help save the lives of many people. If, however, a human male raises a flag by responding to their fluffy hugs and having sex with her, she'll become his wife. So, free hugs, free life-saving hugs in a blizzard. That's a package deal. That is a really nice package deal. Oop. Yeah, it can really be changed around too. You don't really need to do much in order to do that. Like, I'm kind of curious what would happen if someone made like a modern revision of the Monster Girl Encyclopedia. Well, the framework is already there. It's just changing a lot of phrases around, so it's a lot less, I wouldn't say dated, but make it some way it's a bit more appropriate, considering the nature of it all. Because they do not hesitate throwing a lot of words around that, frankly, you can't really say without getting in trouble. Nope. Anyone else that Gaga has been getting SEC? Yeah, it's mostly because of the anniversary that passed for the Braves. And the fact that they've been just pumping out stuff left and right for Gal Gadot is really, really noticeable. And since it's the most well-known of the Brave series, they're banking on a lot of that. So it makes for an opportunity for them to really go pull out all the stops. Like, it's insane what they're doing with the Real Great Kips. It's really insane what they're doing with the Real Great. They have the dividing driver with spring-loaded capabilities. So it can actually press in and out easily. I know that might be a bit of a problem in trying to get that work, but I know for a fact that's going to be a very interesting part of the kit. And honestly, I'm looking forward to it. But mind you, it's the Genesec that's the one that's going to be the most ridiculous of the bunch because, well, it does have some really, really insane tools. It has a hand that has nothing but Goldian hammers. What more can you ask? What more can you ask for? Like, Genesec Gal Gadot is pretty much that one mecha unit that is, by and large, the most ridiculous Like, I understand, like, Gurren Lagann can go, like, into universal territory with its size. Yeah, it was the final. It was that. And the Genset Golden Hammer. I don't care if it's Gurren Lagann or whatever it is. Nothing's gonna ever escape that. And that thing will become light in a matter of moments. All right. Oh no, can't show this on the stream. Ooh, but I do like her outfit. Ooh. A beastman type monster with the characteristics of a fox. Being besides living in forests and mountain areas, made them slip into human settlements with a man distracts their fancy and charming them and throwing them. Monsters are basically lustful, but Yoko stands out as being particularly lustful even among them. When this body man they like they aggressively attack, having a wild obscene sex with them, accumulating energy on the occasion and obtaining essence from the man. Their tails are a symbol of high energy. The higher the dark energy is, the more they have with men, the more they increase in number until they reach the 9. It was made of ships and crushed in artificial wow. Mm. Yeah. It's definitely up there. Also, the immensity of their lust is proportional to how many tails they have. With only a single tail, they're not much different than other monsters, but as their tails increase, their minds become preoccupied with thoughts of pleasure and sex with men. By the time they reach 9 tails, they'll end up thinking mostly about having sex with men, whether awake or sleeping. Their main concern is how to have sex with men and how to enjoy pleasure. They spend much of their time having sex with men, except when sleeping. It's just nonstop. Men who have taken a liking to them have started to live with them and periodically have sex with them until ending up possessing high abilities and high lust due to the influence of their energy. Due to these heightened abilities, it appears those chosen to be the husband are continuously found in high positions in human society, such as statesmen. Men whom taken a liking to have started. Wait, yep, read that already. Individuals with 9 tails are called Kyubi no Kitsune, or 9-tailed foxes. And it's said that their vast energy is even comparable to that of a god. Their dark energy can't be completely contained within their body, and is constantly being released around them. When exposed to this magical energy, human rationality diminishes and lust increases. Monsters become ferocious, and along with that, monsters such as Succubi gather. Ultimately, a nation of monsters will form centered around the Kyubi no Kitsune, where they have an orgy of pleasure all day and night. They're also called Keiko no Bijou, women so beautiful they can steal a ruler's heart and put the nation in danger. Thoughts. Part and parcel, they're thoughts. And they will wreck everything under the right conditions. It's only true that they will cause human order to crumble and countries to transform with the monsters consumed by pleasure focused around them, and their husband replacing it. In the uncivilized Miscontinent, it said that the Kyubi no Kitsune rule and the devilish paradise that you could say is truly debaucherous is spreading, where humans and monsters are consumed with thoughts of having sex according to their desires. They can enjoy pleasure and copulation all day, every day, whether awake or sleeping. Not much to really talk about them, huh? But I have a good feeling that this is going to be, let's say, A tier at most. Sometimes you just need to pump the brakes. Sometimes. But if they're capable of toppling civilizations left and right, I think we're at a very dangerous situation there. All right, and just two more with just the Yukiona and the zombie. All right. An ice elemental possessing blue skin and a chilly body that lives in snowy mountains. They are called demi-elementals, which were originally born as monsters. They had the power to control blizzards and cause men to set foot into snowy mountains to get lost and then invite them into their homes. Men invited back to their homes are treated to meals, etc. Will likely receive a warm reception. And in order to gain the man's essence and body warmth, she'll tempt him seeking intercourse. If he rejects her advances, she'll use her ice breath on the man. The breath contains energy and power to freeze the human heart. That seems to be a common thing. The man will yearn for another's warm touch as she does. And then he probably won't be able to help but have sex with the girl before his very eyes. In contrast with their cold exterior, their inside of the body is warm enough to melt ice. And the pleasure generated there will very easily melt a man's heart, concentrating and indulging on their body. Meanwhile, Yukiona's body will absorb the man's heat. Once a cold body will become fiercely hot, sex changes to something hot and passionate enough to make each other melt. Furthermore, once they've known the warmth of human skin, they won't easily let the man go. If one tries to escape, he'll likely be sent back to her home over and over by the power of the blizzard she controls. But in the first place, most men who have known selfish intercourse with a Yukiona will put her before anything else, but would probably not do something such as leaving her side. Also, when they're young, they visit human villages in a child called Yukiwarashi. It is said that they mix in with human children. Yukiwarashi themselves are not particularly dangerous, but being monsters, even in this time, they're unconsciously looking for a male to become their future husband. Just like the Kappa. Just like the Kappa, because they kind of imprint themselves onto who they like from a very young age. But once they grow up, they chase them down. Okay. In the case of a boy who has intermingled with Yukiwarashi, it is said that there are times when she will return back to the village after going to Yukiona to come get him and make him her husband. I don't mind. If anything, we can enjoy a nice little hot cup of tea and laugh all the times while we just go at it like a bunch of animals. What more can you ask for? I mean, there's not much you can do in the blizzard anyway, other than just enjoy Netflix and chill. No pun intended. But she follows the same kind of term as all the other ice elementals, like the Ice Queen, the Icicle Woman. But she has more of that, I wouldn't say orderly, but a very formal approach to certain things. I mean, after all, some of them are just kind of still styled after geishas, so it's definitely the element of hospitality that's there. So we got the S rank. And last but not least, we have the zombie. And this is where we can mark the end. The end indeed. An undead type monster that is a human corpse animated by demonic energy. Although they retain their memories from when they were human, their intelligence and reason is diminished. Guided by instinct, they wander graveyards at night in search of a human. The decay of their bodies is suppressed by the energy. And even in the case of a messed up corpse with horrible wounds, becoming a zombie will destroy the body to a certain degree. However, in order to maintain their bodies, they must always have a man's essence. For that reason, their lust and appetite are extremely swollen compared to when they were human. When they spot a human, they will aggressively attack him in an attempt to obtain essence from both desires. They pile on their prey, indulging on sex and essence, and by obtaining a large amount of essence, the zombie's visible wounds will heal, yet they do not become indistinguishable from human. They can also regain the wits they used to have when living, but ultimately due to their swollen lust and desire for sex, the zombies' thought patterns remain simple, and their wits won't be used for intellectual pursuits. Furthermore, although they appear to be reanimated corpses if their womb was originally intact or when the individual received a large amount of essence, resulting in the restoration of their womb, it's even possible for them to have children. In that case, the children born will be zombies. That's unfortunate. And according to one theory, it said that zombies aren't human corpses reanimated by energy. Instead, they're human corpses that have changed into a living race called zombies. Also, those who lack demonic energy and have low intelligence sometimes attack human women by mistake. However, no matter how hard a zombie tries, and no matter how long she goes at it, she won't be able to obtain much essence from a human woman. Since their wits are lacking, they expect providing more pleasure to result in the release of essence, and they end up continuing to have sex for a very long time. Eventually, pleasure will flow into the woman's body along with the zombie's energy, which will violate her body and change her into a zombie while she's still alive. If it ain't crazy enough, I'm pretty sure this is going to lead to somewhere. But as it stands right now, it's B. Zombie. So we have in total for the final for S plus, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. For S pluses, S ranks, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. For S's. And A, we have 1, 2, 3. Wait. I think I miscounted. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we have 3. All right, and that's pretty much settled. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try and go back and start making priority of these. And just start highlighting each and every one that I give an S plus to. Okay, we have this. And yep. Chimera. All right, so that's done with this one. All right, we have okay. You know, let me just adjust a little bit more. Let me. I think it also bump that kid up to S plus. All right, we're good. We're good. Oh, I think you can leave the Ganavara where she is. Right here, Akutaka is definitely top pick. Inizumi, which is pretty much my absolute favorite of all the ones that I picked out so far, which is quite says a lot. Let's see, we have 5 of these. And Kikimura. And what I'm probably going to do, I'm going to sell this for another time, the discussion for another time, because it's a little bit, I do want to have a bit of an open time to really do their discussions. So this is the final day of the ranking, but not really the final day of anything else in general. So maybe a bit of like a small stream on its own. So right now I'm just organizing the stuff that's necessary for a discussion that's coming up soon. Take me away and make me your Christmas gift. Wrap me, pack me, and show me a good time. That's pretty much a Krampus. That's pretty much the gist of it. Yorinago. Almage, definitely for sure. Pyro for certain. Raiju. Heck yeah. All right, we got the Ryu here. C bishop. Shogoth. Doing this one. On the bird. Definitely a high pick on my count. Unicorn. Kotairo! And next up is the Valkyrie. Where's sheep? White horn. And Yeti. So, with that done, we are. Nah, I don't think I've gotten the reference, but wait, what'd I miss? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, miss one more. Let me go back. Oh yeah, the Unagi Joro. The eel woman. Yeah, I could probably just keep messing around with like the other ones too. You know what? Maybe I might bump the Gandavara. Maybe. Gandharva into S tier. So I can pad the stats a little bit. She does have some really good qualities too. And so it's settled. So it is indeed officially settled in my case. Oh, Selkie and that. Oh, I didn't rank them as. No, wait, did I? I didn't rank Selkie as S tier. Well, I didn't rank it as S plus. So let me see if I can kind of reconsider on that regard. Because there might be some way I can probably change things around. Yeah, I didn't rank her as S plus. And white. Yeah, that one I missed. So that's 5. All right. So again, this is the final day of the ranking. However, I might have to push the whole discussion thing for another time, since let me see. I'm gonna have to push the discussion for maybe another time. So it kind of gives us a nice little chance to really properly discuss, or at least kind of break down each and every one as to why I picked these particular girls. So we can just kind of mess around with that. You know, I think I've probably heard this song before, but I just never really knew where it came from too. She just had the Bluetooth speakers just nesting on her head. And just inside their bag, just getting dragged away to wherever home that she lives in. But I'll figure something out. But I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you everybody for tuning on in and just humoring my little project here and there. So I'm gonna have to update things on Twitter just to let people know that the discussion is gonna be moved to another time, but the ranking is officially over. It is officially over. All right, so let's put on the outro. Well, outro music, and we can go from there. All right, so y'all be good. Take it easy. The weekend's almost here, and we have plenty more to do. We got Risk of Rain on Saturday, Valkyria Chronicles on Friday, so we can have our little date with Silveria as she's ready to just give us a good one. And I'm probably gonna have to restart the mission, one way or another. What joy. Yeah, it was gonna be me and Green, but if you're interested in, we can also shoot you an invite too. I mean, anybody's pretty much welcome to join. But I'll send y'all to whoever I can find. So now, thank you for watching. Hope you had a wonderful time. Now set forth and have fun, aces. Peace. Oh yeah, let me also do one more thing. You got your chance. You see me now. And now, I am gone. There we go. Move. I'll probably send y'all to Merryweather. Just for the heck of it. And remember, as always, you represent me by proxy, so if anyone acts up, I will deal with you personally. Or just reprimand you and just ban you. So, again, go forth and have fun, aces.